Hello everyone and welcome to our playthrough of Apollo Justice. And yes, it's me playing an Ace Attorney game for the channel. And
We're in such good hand.
On the
and it's the
iOS.
version.
No less.
No, oh!
iPhone.
Well, look at the bloodshot here. At least the music works.
Yeah.
And there is text, yeah.
Bigger
Okay.
text.
And we're going to start obviously with episode 1, Turnabout.
Obvious joke is obvious and just move on.
Alright,
Okay.
so bit of backstory here. This game on the DS was freaking phenomenal in its production values, with intros
It
like
was.
this.
I can see that.
And this one looks better because it's uncompressed.
Yeah.
Oh, cards.
Mm-hmm. Showdown time.
Something's odd
Yes.
here. Ah! Eek!
Oh,
Well, it's got to a bright start, this game, hasn't it?
notice my directing?
Oh, phone's ringing.
I seem to be in a bit of trouble. Something like that. Dead. Someone hit him. Hard. Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that.
I wonder who's speaking there. Anyway, trial time. April 20th, 9:37.
Oh, I can actually see what the painting was supposed to be about in the background.
Yeah, it's the judge.
I can also read every single color of text.
Panicked. Palms sweaty. I can admit it. I'm nervous.
Mom spaghetti.
Mom spaghetti.
Ah, good morning.
So, yeah. Now it's time to meet our client. Actually, no.
No,
Our mentor.
Good morning, sir. Yeah, our lawyer. I'll defend. I'm stuck already.
You look tense, Justice. Wound up tight.
Hey, I'm like Apollo at the minute. Wound up, sir? No, I'm loose. I'm fine.
You'll
That
be hearing them a lot.
screeching noise, is that your voice? I suppose it's to be expected.
Okay.
Your first trial. It's a homicide. I guess justice doesn't start small, eh?
Get
So
it
yes,
off the
guys, we're
name.
starting off again as a rookie whose first case is homicide.
Because
I'm
of
fine.
course.
I'm
Well,
fine.
To be fair, it makes sense for the intention of
I
what
got
the
up
game
at
is
5
supposed
a.m. to do my course of steel voice workout. I'm fine.
Ah, that explains it.
I even do the raspy voice.
I did detect a certain rasping quality in your screech.
I overdid it again.
Kill the laugh
Yes.
track.
Ah.
Apollo Justice was being from the live
As
studio.
you know, your client today is a good friend of mine.
Really?
I wouldn't want to let him down, if you get my drift.
What if we let him up?
Then you're fired.
Oh shit.
Drift gone, sir! I'm all over that drift!
This isn't called Turnabout Trump for nothing, son. As it happens, I dined with him the night of the murder.
Alright, he did it. He's the real villain.
We can't
Come on.
let this case fall through.
Yes, I'm fine, sir!
Your
I swear if I had $1 for every time you said I'm fine. One more thing. Don't say you're fine quite so much.
This should be a drinking game.
Yeah, count how many times he says, every time he says fine.
People might take you the wrong way.
Oh.
I'll be preparing our case.
To leave?
You might want to introduce yourself to the client.
Yeah, by the way, where is he?
Right here.
There we are. Oh, no, wait, no. I'm going to use Apollo first. My name is Apollo Justice.
This is my first day at school. Oh wait.
If it isn't clear already, I'm a new attorney.
Wait for till Destiny's here. There's a perfect setup for that joke.
Yeah,
And
it
today
is.
is my first trial. Not that I'm worried or anything.
Yeah, it literally sounds like a traditional school visual novel.
The defendant has been accused of murder.
At least
No
the franchise is acknowledging that, there are other
My
crimes.
boss wants to help him out, of course, and so do I.
Of course, the client's a good friend of your boss.
I mean, there's no way he did it. Not him. No way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Up there he is.
Oh hey,
There's our
Phoenix.
New, there's our new client, Pa. Whoa!
A reject from Jet Set Radio, you see.
Good morning.
Phoenix, have you smoked a joint?
Bit on that later, Tio.
We were about
Yeah.
to fall asleep.
Morning.
We'll get back.
It's all up to you today. 2 words. Executive mandates.
First
Yeah.
trial, nervous, meaning him.
It's a whole can of worms with Phoenix in this game too.
That said, I don't want to talk too much on about it because this case, for the most part, is actually pretty good.
If anything, Drovite will become apparent as the game
I think I'm
goes on.
supposed to say something. Help.
So,
Somebody wanna help here?
You're...
Fine, I'm fine.
I love
That's
this
my
beginning.
catchphrase, and I'm
Ah,
sticking to it.
Mr. Fine, is it?
Yeah,
His real name.
I'm Swedish.
Okay, I'll start off by saying something good. You can tell right out of the gate that this is definitely, at the very least, the quality of writing you'd expect dialogue-wise. The dialogue is definitely nice and
I'd
witty, as
say
expected
yes,
of this
Drova, but
Turner game.
obviously I cannot judge because I'm like 5 minutes in. But
Oh.
I'd say that so far I've seen a couple of instances where they try a bit too hard.
Thankfully, that's not too much the case with this game, admittedly.
Anyway,
I mean, with me. Mr. Gavin is a top-notch defense attorney.
And yet, Phoenix requested Apollo
And he's
instead.
your friend. And he's your friend. So why?
You'll see.
please don't stare like me.
Phoenix in this game's more of a master manipulator than an attorney.
You can do it. Be confident.
Well, that's quite-
Believe
Hey,
yourself.
Yeah.
Yourself.
Um,
Yourself.
I'm really sorry this happened to you. I mean,
It's like the 3rd time this time, kid. Don't worry.
I mean,
Also- Wait,
I mean-
that pendant.
It's time. Shall we? Yes, that
We'll
pendant
find out.
is important.
It's time.
No, isn't it the same that Dahlia gave to him just without
Also,
the poison?
also I love the I love the poetry here. When Phoenix Wright lost his main character slot, Jova lost his playing of this series.
It's
Give it
funny you
time.
mention the similarity to what Dahlia gave him to you, because also, like the first case in Trials and Tribulations, we start off with Phoenix being the defendant and us introducing a new lawyer character.
Court time.
Oh,
The court is now in session.
oh Jesus, the judge looks so scary in HD.
Yeah.
I do like the music.
Oh,
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor.
Oh boy,
and he's
Payne.
thrown.
Can you find a decent haircut to save your life?
The defense is fine. I mean, ready, Your Honor.
I do like Apollo's HD
Don't
sprite.
panic. Too late.
Yeah.
However, yeah, like Theo said, the judge's sprite needs a bit more work on the face.
Here's the deal with how it was in the original DS version. The judge's sprites were actually touched up, believe it or not. Here's the thing though, it was only his from the original trilogy that were really touched up for it. What you're wondering? More on that in the 4th case.
Are you quite sure? Your voice sounds a bit strained.
Or Apollo.
Also, I get to do a lot of talking to myself in this game. Mr. Gavin.
So Gavin's
Yes,
gonna be
Your
assistant
Honor.
for- oh, right.
Yeah. I was under the impression that you would be heading up this case.
Unfortunately, you heard wrong. That was my intention. Yes. However, a defense attorney must always see to his client's wishes.
Alright.
Yeah, it's all trust and
And my client specifically requested Mr. Justice.
Because that's his name. Well, of course he wants justice.
And thanks to this game, they started the tradition of every even-numbered main Ace Attorney game having the word justice in it.
But to entrust his case to this greenhorn? Why? I do not exaggerate when I say that you're the best defense attorney in town, Mr. Gavin. Oh, by the way, this game takes place 7 years after Trials and Tribulations.
Alright.
Okay, so Gavin's got trial experience, fine, but does he have cords of steel? Yeah, Apollo's kind of a weirdo in this game.
Let's just sit here. We're gonna have to wait for Yamazaki to turn him into a much better character.
I mean, Apollo's...
Very enthusiastic at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is truly an unfortunate turn of events.
Again.
I'm sorry we had to meet again under these circumstances.
Isn't this kind of how we met the first time, though?
Long time no see, Mr. Wright.
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Sorry, Pedro.
Let's put the past behind
Even
us,
way
shall we?
out does
Yeah,
it. Too.
yeah, you're with Phoenix on this.
These days, I'm merely Phoenix Wright, piano player.
And a crap one at that.
Yeah.
No.
I
Mr.
composed
Wright.
the score for this game.
How could this have happened?
How could
Could this happen to me?
I won't speak of it further then.
Let us never speak of this ever again.
Yeah, if the prosecution would be so kind as to explain the charges. Mr. Payne?
Okay, Payne.
To think I saw you enter this room as a fresh attorney, now I see you leave in shame.
Basically, let's just
Oh, I
say...
think
Winston Payne. Subtle as ever, I see.
Also, some of the proportions are a bit weird.
That is one other thing
The
reporting this
defendant's
to
on
iOS.
the top anyway, alright. Ahem. The crime occurred at the Borscht Ball Club, a Russian restaurant.
Of course, it links to Russia somehow.
The defendant, Phoenix Wright, took the victim, a customer, and he hit him, wham, on the head, smack, kill him cold.
A customer at the restaurant, you say? And the defendant, you say he was,
An ex-person. The pianist for the club, it seems.
Phoenix Wright, a pianist?
Yeah, I can't really picture it either.
Me neither.
Hey, if I can... Hey, I slam my hands on the desk all the time. Who says that I can't slam my hands on the
Of course,
keyboard?
it's grape juice.
Yeah, we couldn't do wine,
It's
so...
always
No,
grape
it was
juice.
never wine. It was never wine.
Remember,
No, it's
yeah.
Drink your grape juice, Teo. Drink your grape juice, Teo.
Remember, Tio, Japan does not like showing alcohol
It's
to their
like
kids.
a DBZ where Master Roshis drink a lot of milk.
Well,
But don't
actually,
you see-
Joker is more like it's Takumi's favorite drink, which is why it was.
In fact, that's what we should do.
Oh,
we
wow,
should
how about that?
Jove, I just realized something.
What?
We should redo our Fervent Seraph finale, the censored version where Teo drinks grape juice instead of alcohol.
Oh,
Yeah,
goody.
we probably scarred the kitty, so yeah, we should do that.
The court record. Right, I've heard of that.
Use the court record button in the upper right to look at the evidence so far.
There we are. Okay, Badge, how long did I yearn for one of these? Just to make it feel ready.
Yeah, I do say that the way they implemented the court record without the use of a double screen is
The autopsy reports, Shady Smith.
Admittedly, Tio, they kind of already did that with the Game Boy Advance version, so...
Yeah,
true. I just
I was about to. I was about to say that.
Wii U or Wii versions or whatever.
Alright.
Yeah, I was about to say that as well. Basically, Teo, they're using the same They're going back to the GBA original interface.
If I'll be
Sure.
quite honest, I always prefer the DS interface, if only because in this one you have
Same.
to cover up
Well,
stuff
less
with the
intrusive,
screen.
I guess.
Wow,
Yeah.
Phoenix is 33 now.
Also,
I
the
prefer
victim is
Well-
literally called Shady Smith.
Well, question,
And
Dwibs, are you
Payne-
recording?
Payne
Sorry, go ahead.
61.
Well, question, Dwibs, are you playing this with your iPhone sideways?
Yeah.
Like if you turn it vertically, does it change to a more dual screen
Oh no,
setup?
it's sideways. It's sideways no matter what.
Yeah, much like a
Ah,
lot
okay.
of mobile games, it just fixes on a particular screen.
I don't suppose there's like an option for that.
No,
In a
but
game
why
like
would you
this,
want to
why
play?
would you even hold the iPhone vertically anyway?
You'd
Why
be
would you
surprised.
Remember, Shiroi, remember, guys, like we just said, if we had a dual screen setup, the screen would be less cluttered, like Jova just.
We believe he was a traveler, Your Honor, this Shady Smith.
Mhm.
Shady
Oh,
Smith,
goodness
yes.
sake.
Traveler.
Alright. Just according to his passport, he had been out of the country for a number of years.
Oh, so he's that kind of guy.
He had only returned to this country recently, though his place of residence is unclear.
We're not going to say the country because localization.
It doesn't matter.
And he had some sort of connection with the defender. So for all we know, this game could be
didn't,
taking place in Zimbabwe for all we know.
Didn't Trials Tribulations mention the same fictional country where Dino Crisis take place?
I believe it does. Anyway, to be...
First met at the Bush Club on the night of the crime.
You know, it's funny you mention that, Dwibs, because this game was actually made from the get-go to be localization friendly. Yeah, Apollo Justice was at the point where the series was taking, well, you know, it was taking the world by storm, relatively speaking.
That doesn't appear to be the case, but yeah, I get what you mean, Joe.
Basically, they actually made the script in mind to be localizer friendly, and this one actually got the closest thing to a universal release. Japan got it like a few weeks or a month ahead of everyone. Of course, as you all know, this game ended up coming out before Ace Attorney 3, so we got the better one saved for later.
As we can see, a game of poker was in progress at the scene of the crime.
Wait a second!
What?
Isn't poker gambling?
Oh,
Very
yeah,
good,
that's right.
Judge.
So is
Well,
microtransaction.
Crime in
depends.
and of itself!
Well, that depends, Judge. It depends if you're...
It appears our defendant.
Not necessarily, Judge. I mean, you can just play without using money.
On the basis, sort of criminal.
Pain is
So,
just
can
eager.
Can you use the exploit of double
Objection!
jeopardy?
It is true that the defendant was engaged in a game of poker with the victim.
Also,
That is irrelevant to the case.
Also, I think.
Yet it was only that. A game, in the purest sense, a competition, Your Honor.
How
Shiri,
do you
can you see
stop
the red text better this time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one benefit of the iOS version. We can see the red text clearer.
Also, I love Christoph Gavins' objection. It's so pompous. It's
Well,
literally...
it's also the fact that they actually made the text boxes darker.
Yeah.
Anyway, only the cards, the backs wreathed in flame, would do so.
In blue flame, bear that in mind. Come again.
Yeah. The cards on the table had blue backs, Your Honor. It's
Wreathed
not
in
even a
blue
flame, it
flame.
looks like just a simple pattern. I believe the defense was waxing poetic in an attempt to mystify those present. And impress women. Check your privilege.
That will be our first order of business here, then.
Impress woman.
To find out more about this fatal game of cards. By playing cards.
Yeah, I challenge you to a children's card game.
Yeah, we'll play Snap first of all. Very well, defendant.
I want bag.
You will testify to the court about the poker competition held the night of the crime.
Sure, might as well.
My pleasure.
Competition is written in
Alright, so as traditional, we get our witness testimony first. This is it. My first trial. Here goes nothing.
Alright, Apollo, let's see what you got.
The
Witness
competition.
testimony, the competition. Hey, I'm reading this bit now.
I am a pianist by trade, yet I can hardly play at all.
But why do
But how are you,
My
how are
real
people
job
hiring
is to
you?
take on interested customers over at the poker table.
He actually watches a YouTube tutorial in front of the piano and just
Yeah.
The room where we play and the competition in there are the club's main attractions.
Plot twist here, it's actually a Nintendo Labo piano.
The rules are simple. We play a game of poker using 2 decks of cards. That's all it is, a game, and our customers are happy.
Well, except that one we saw in the intro.
Except the one who bled to death.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I guess
I
he's
don't
a
think
bit
he was too
disappointed.
Yeah, I don't think he was too impressed with that. A
No.
pianist who can't play piano.
Better than a defense attorney you can defend. Oh.
How long have you been waiting to say that one, Payne?
Very well. The defense may begin the cross-examination. Right, Your Honor.
Right away, you say?
What were even to cross-examine?
My first cross-examination. Don't blow it.
Also, these music
Are
is
you all
more
right?
aesthetic.
You're sweating bullets.
Yeah, this music's normally used for the middle of a court scene. Bullets
What is
where?
It's the tell the truth theme of the game.
Again, I love
But why
Yeah,
here?
I can see why.
It's a
I mean,
figure of
I
speech,
like this scene
Justice.
too.
Well, here's the thing, Dwibs. Often the Tell the Truth theme plays when your mentor is giving you the rundown of how a cross-examination works. Like, that's how it went in the first, second, and, yeah, even the third game.
Yeah, I like this theme too. It's just a bit odd putting it here.
You've watched me perform cross-examinations many times. Therefore, you've never done one yourself, have you? Care for a refresher?
Nah, we know.
Let's see, what do I choose? What to do? Should I ask Mr. Gavin for a refresher course?
No.
No, thanks, we know.
No need for help here, sir. I think I got this one covered.
I think he kind of forces the tutorial on you anyway, though, if what I'm better.
No,
I think you better do more than think. You know it, or you do not. There is no try.
This is not Nintendo, Shiro.
I'm fine. The courts are still ready for battle.
For me personally, I really like the special skill theme that the Paul has. We'll see it in case 2. And I love
Actually, you'll
Trucy's theme.
see it in this case as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is? Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
Fine.
Never mind. The point is, I really like the bracelet theme. I love Trucy's theme. But honestly, I find most of the soundtrack in this game to be rather forgettable to me. I don't know. I just don't find it to be nearly as good as the What That Is stuff, honestly.
Inconsistencies, lies, Phoenix Wright? As if Phoenix Wright would never lie. And it's up to me to prove it.
That's right. Phoenix
Apollo,
has...
you know jack shit.
Phoenix has a bit of a
Well,
fan
let's,
base at this point.
Yeah, but first let's save the progress.
If I remember correctly,
it's
Jova...
quite fast actually in this game.
Well, yeah, mobile. If I remember correctly, Jova, Kitagawa did the score for this one?
No. It was someone else.
Anyway,
Also,
cross-examination time.
Please, I suppose this game supports cloud saving for the mobile version.
No, but not that it matters, I don't think it's time.
Sure.
Anyway, let's break speed for this. Hold it! They pay you just to play poker?
That
I
would
could do.
seem to be the case. I am a professional, after all.
No, you're not.
At poker, he is.
Do you detect pride in that statement?
Look who's talking, hair grown out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just hard for an honest, hard-working member of society like me to imagine.
Aha. Yes, your imagination was always a bit limited, Winston.
Jesus,
calling you
the
Winston now.
Bang, bang,
vitriol
bang!
in this aura. What?
Even when he's on trial, he's still roasting you.
I've played poker for 7 years in that little room. Yeah, and I've never lost. Once.
Did you notice how his hat says Papa?
Mm-hmm.
Gee, I wonder what his role in this game's gonna be.
We'll see. You see why the customers come now? Defeat
take
the
on
undefeated
Paz.
poker
Spoiler, he
champion.
actually works at Papa John's and has done this whole time.
Thank goodness no, because he has a soul. It's quite a draw.
I've tried Papa John's recently. Yes, yeah, Papa John's around here. It's actually not that bad.
It's not bad.
It's not the worst, but I could do way better taste-wise.
Wait,
Yeah.
you've never lost once? Not even once? He just said that!
I guess he's stunned by it.
Yeah, this is one recurring thing in this game. Apollo doesn't really pay that much attention.
Wow, it's the perfect
Yeah.
character, man.
So there you go, Dwibs. Your preferred character for you.
Yes,
go.
he is.
You of all people, Dwibs, should relate to him. The best
Yeah.
of us.
Doesn't pay attention, has a faulty memory. Do you have spiky hair?
No.
Ah. Do you like
I
red?
hate- I hate spiky hair, actually, and I hate red.
Weird.
Yeah.
An English person who hates reds. Never saw that before.
I think I might have to go to the toilet.
Well, that's not so much that, too. It's because it's a Chelsea fan.
I know.
As I said, I'm a professional. You know, okay, honestly, if they didn't do what they did to Phoenix, which we're gonna find out story-wise, it would be fine in this game overall story-wise for me. Like, Phoenix, aside from what we're gonna learn out later, is pretty cool here. Again, it's what we find out later.
Yeah. Well, it makes it
back in this game.
Also, I don't know, Joe. I know that the trial just started, but I had no idea where this is going. And it's the first
Hold
game.
Well, that's kind of how they start off these days now,
Yeah,
Tio.
the whole... Well, this particular tutorial case too is kind of supposed to be a deconstruction of what you typically expect of tutorial cases.
Not to mention the fact that also, it makes sense. You're playing from the perspective of Apollo here, who's just as lost as we are. And I will say this, they actually do work it out pretty well. Like I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is hands down the best case in this game. Which is both a good thing and a sad thing, because the finale case is my least favorite.
Yeah, the cases go downhill from here.
Yeah, this is.
I've heard that this is most people's favorite.
The thing about this game is that each case after this has one really major flaw that helps to bring the whole case down, and it gets worse. The second case is quite possibly the most irritating.
Oh, this good.
A smoky room, gambling hoods. You know, just looking at this picture makes me feel bad.
Because I'm
really
bad.
sad.
I'm
Sorry.
bad. Jumanji.
It's really.
But what you were saying,
It's really
Pedro?
sad because the tutorial case should never be the highlight of an Ace Attorney game.
Yeah.
Anyway, as I was saying earlier, the second case was bogged down by, in my opinion, the most irritating defendant I've ever seen in an Ace Attorney game.
This is
The
one of
third,
those.
the third case is brought down by everyone just losing their brains.
Is that the one I'm particularly looking forward to?
And
Serenade.
and the fourth case, it does leave behind a lot of interesting stuff for future games to build upon, but that's the problem. Future games don't build up on some of those.
You know, the fourth case is my least favorite of this game, and what a shock! The fourth case is one of the cases that's most impacted by the stupid executive mandates. Alright, I might as well get this out of the way right now, because they'll probably explode if I don't mention it. Shu Takumi originally had a story in mind for a fourth Ace Attorney game. There's a misconception going around that he didn't want to do any more Ace Attorney. Actually, no. He did want to do Ace Attorney. There were a few problems, though. One, Apollo Justice was rushed, because this had to be done right off the heels of being when they were finishing up with Rise from the Ashes, which took a while to work on. So, yeah, they repeated the same mistake they did with Justice for All, and because of that, we only have 4 cases instead of 5. Secondly, executive mandates. Originally, Shu Takumi figured that Phoenix's story was well and done with by the end of Trials and Tribulations. You know, Phoenix had finally become the master he was being trained to be. He finally found love with Iris, and Maya was going to go on to be the spirit medium master and all that. So, Shu Takumi had a different story in mind, basically, with Apollo, and of course Apollo was going to have a mentor who was, you know, let's just say, kind of working both ends of the law here. Here's the problem. Capcom, and yes, KJ Inafune was the producer at the time, had this wonderful idea to executively mandate Shu Takumi to not only include Phoenix, and thus by extension that's going to affect the story heavily, I'll tell you that, and then there was executive mandates gore with the finale, but I'm not going to spoil what that is because that ties into the story. So yeah, the best way to sum this game up is like, well, this is a good Ace Attorney game, but one that you can clearly tell is hindered by the executive mandates. Like, Shu Takumi did want to make this game, but he didn't want to make it like this. Like, and because he had...
by Phoenix.
And again, because this game was rushed, Shu Takumi kind of had to scramble in order to find ways to make the story work with Phoenix in mind.
And unlike the previous 3, Takumi wasn't involved in directing this one.
I know, right? Yeah.
From what I've seen, Phoenix himself is a bit of a hindrance.
He didn't direct it, and he's one of 3 writers.
Yeah.
Correctly.
I believe the court understands the nature of the game sufficiently. That's right!
Are you sure you
It's a simple game, after all.
And that is kind of a problem here, like, Capcom, can't you have faith in Shu Takumi to actually run this game properly? Instead, they were slowly taking control away from him.
People are not murdered over simple games, Mr. Justice.
That's just the thing, Joe. If there's one thing these mobile ports show is that Capcom still doesn't seem like they see the great franchise that they have here, because they still don't allow it to flourish as much as they should. Let's not forget how we still have to get him digitally over here.
Well, mine page, if that was the case, Page, you wouldn't be getting these games at all.
Well, we're getting them digital only. Although I will admit, though, the news that Shu Takumi is actually being allowed to help out with the 2nd season of the anime and might possibly be coming back for Ace Attorney 7 does give me hope.
If I recall correctly, this mobile port was only for iOS. Android did not get it, if I recall.
Android actually did get it.
I think Android got it, yeah.
But iOS got it first,
let that one
though.
slip by.
So it's Apollo the one who gets the breakdown here. Right.
Don't despair yet, Justice.
Sir?
Right. There's something I'd like made clear.
Wrong.
Namely, your connection to the case at hand. And I'd like to hear it from you.
Oh yeah, he was there.
Sure. Why not?
For me personally, Jova, my ideal scenario would be like I would really love it if Yamazaki and Shutakumi could join forces and co-write and direct one of these. Like, 'cause I feel like if the two join forces, they could cancel each other's weaknesses and make a.
Ace Attorney forces.
Okay, maybe that might be the case with Ace Attorney 7. It might.
really?
Anyway, we got a new
It sounds like Yamazaki is still around, and with the news that Shutakumi sounds like he's writing for Ace Attorney 7. Also, they're actually letting Shutakumi help out with the writing for the
never
second.
touched the murder weapon, eh? It says right there, it's got your prints on it, you idiots.
Phoenix.
You touched it as well. Objection! So you say you didn't touch the murder weapon? This grape juice bottle? Right?
So I
Right.
said. Notice his words.
Something the matter, Mr. Justice?
Is something not right with your defendant?
To play dumb.
Oops.
This animation.
What's this, Mr. Payne?
I examined the bottle in question, you see.
Yeah, that's another thing with
You
Apologist
didn't touch
the
it. You
animation.
didn't touch it as
It
well.
was
Though.
covered with the defendant's fingerprint.
I was gonna say you didn't touch it as well, did you? Objection!
Jesus.
No need to shout, Mr. Justice. I can hear you just fine.
That's right, Apollo manages to
That's
be
the
even
whole idea
louder.
of The objection.
Excess
see what I
yelling
mean when
can
trying too
damage the
hard.
judge's ears and our case.
Ugh.
I'm raging behind this gentle smile.
But what about my cords of steel?
Yeah. This guy is like inside his head. He's like, why? Yeah, whatever.
Anyway,
I can assure you, Teo, that Yamazaki toned down this
what's
quartz of
about
steel thing.
fingerprint on a bottle in a restaurant.
So that's the at least, because I never understood this. What the hell this? I have no idea why the writers thought this was funny or charming. It's not. Sorry.
Oh, pro thing if it were normal fingerprints. Basically now, well, Pedro, a competent writer would actually found a way to make the core steel joke actually worth it.
And to me, honestly, it does work even better in the
The
3DS
fingerprints of the
games.
murder weapon were upside down.
How can you tell that?
Well, don't they give it more of a purpose in Dual Destinies?
Oh
Upside
yeah,
down?
that too.
They do. Yeah.
It means the other way around, Judge.
It was only in the bottle inverted, and there can be only one reason for
Because
that.
I know-
Also, Dwibs,
Sorry.
also, Dwibs, forensic can actually identify if a fingerprint is upside down or not.
Our experienced judge doesn't know what upside down.
To brain someone with the bottle.
To brain? I
Yeah.
wasn't aware that to
Just
brain
say
was a
blast
verb.
someone.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
brain, you brain, he brains.
That actually is something that can be
Mr.
used as a
I
verb
think
for
things are
sex.
took a turn for the worse.
Oh. I see no problem, Justice. I'm closing my eyes.
Christoph inside his head is like, this morning
I
was
mean-
such a good
To
one.
brain or not to brain? That is the question.
The only thing that matters is the truth.
Of course.
There's a good reason
always
for
is.
everything. You'll see.
That's basically Takumi saying, don't worry, this game will mean something at the end.
To
Oh
be
my God,
fair,
Dwibs.
it does. It does. Everything
Yeah,
does
I
mean
do.
something by the end.
I just realized it, Dwibs. It could be go like this. Gee, what are we gonna do tonight? The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to brain over the world.
I stand by my plea of silence regarding the murder. Hey, look, a
Doesn't
witness
quite
who
have the
actually
same ring to
remembers that they can plead the fifth.
Yeah,
For
good job
now.
Good job this one's set in the UK. Not very cooperative, are you? This could hurt your case.
Well, the judge in the crossover is British.
I'm sure he's uncooperative because he's hiding something. There must be some reason.
Most people.
Objection! I love how over and pompous Kristoff's objection is like, objection!
I agree.
Objection!
Well, Shiroi, the crossover was localized by Nintendo of Europe, so.
And what might that be, Mr. Gavin?
On the night of the crime, was it? Who reported the murder to the police?
Reported.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the defendant, Mr. Wright. But still,
Mm-hmm.
That
Really?
distraction
Doesn't
working
really
is-
prove
yeah, that
anything,
doesn't really
though.
prove.
However, though, it does kind of raise some doubt, though.
Yes, well, according to the case file.
Like, if he were the murderer, why would he report the
The
crime
murder
and
was
thus to
reported
present
from
himself
the
as a
scene
witness?
by a call from the defendant's cell phone.
There goes the prosecution for conveniently forgetting to mention shit.
Near the scene?
Conveniently, sure, right. It's Payne. He wants to win.
Let's take a look at the diagram of the murder scene, shall we? Well, the chart says
Forget it.
the victim was murdered in a small room in a basement, 2 floors down from the ground level.
Yeah, honestly, this music could have been more appropriate to play while Christoph was saying, "Hey, do you want to find out how to do
Cell
this?"
phone can't get reception. Oh, the good old days where cell phones
Okay,
could not get
I will admit,
reception
if
in
there's one
basements.
thing I do wish could have come back in later games, it's how they actually do this whole replaying of the crime scene thing with the use of models.
To go above ground.
Mm-hmm.
The call came from first. Is that a cloth on top of a piano?
No, that's about of ice. It's that cold.
Oh,
I see, and this is the phone that made the call.
oh.
Anyway,
that takes me
apart-
back.
This game was directed by Mitsuru Endo.
Yep,
Whoever he is.
the defendant
And
could
Takeshi-
have
and
just
Takeshi
led the scene of the
Yamazaki was-
crime if he so chose.
And Yamazaki was actually one of the game designers.
Uh-huh. It made sense. He was a part of the Ace Attorney team well through and through that point.
Yamazaki's basically the Koizumi to Takumi's Miyamoto. Like, he's the one who started working under Takumi for a while and then eventually took over for him.
Actually, again, this doesn't prove anything. If anything, it just means that
That's
Phoenix
it,
can
Mr.
actually
Gavin.
build up
Better
a
not
good
waste
excuse.
this.
Exactly, Tio.
Well, Phoenix is kind of tiptoeing around everything himself.
The toy, I assure you, no one is more serious about.
I'm possessed by the
What was it
serious
you
business
said?
yokai.
The defendant was in the room the very moment that the crime occurred. How can you possibly know this unless you're hiding
Because-
something?
Because I did the murder. No,
Wait,
that's a good question. How indeed?
That's
are we
another.
seriously accusing Payne of something?
The answer is simple, Your Honor. The prosecution has a decisive witness.
Oh, okay.
There's that familiar suspense theme.
Decisive
I don't
witness.
think Payne is capable of murder, honestly.
You're
This
as
is-
good as they say you are.
funny enough, this will be the last game in the main series that had this version of the theme.
In the
the
main
night of the
series,
crime.
anyway.
Yeah,
Also,
I said the
Jova-
main series. Trevor, I said the main series.
Also, Jova, let me guess. There is actually one of the fan games where Payne is actually the murderer.
I don't know yet. Are you ready?
Yes, ready to get on.
Ready?
Dum dum. Very well. The prosecution may call his first witness to the stand, and we shall find out what that first witness is in the next part. So we'll see you
Sure.
then.
Now, before we close
Alright.
out, there were actually two composers for this game. One was Tashihiko Horiyama.
and Hideki Kagawa.
Yeah. Horiyama would come back for the later 3DS games to assist Iwaderon. Okugawa, don't know much about him.
I'll just say I don't particularly care for them for their music as much as I do for other games. Honestly, I think Iwadare is much better.
Agreed. Anyway, we'll see you for the next part,
Yeah,
folks.
See you for part 2.
See ya.
You know.
See ya.
Yeah.